What's going on, guys? Parker here, and I'm here today with a different type of content. Today is going to be the first episode of the Football Focus podcast. I hinted this earlier today in my YouTube videos, but we're bringing a podcast to the channel. This is going to be a weekly NFL show throughout the NFL offseason, talking about all the moves and everything that goes on throughout the offseason. And then once the regular season starts ramping up and we start getting real games that matter, then this podcast will be on 2 times a week. So make sure to subscribe to the channel down below, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave a comment on this video down below, because all of those things will really help us out a ton. And this podcast is going to be really fun. A passion project here, talk about the NFL. This first episode, we're going to be talking about all the moves that went down in the first week of NFL free agency. I'm going to be sharing this podcast with my good friend Tyler. We're going to be talking about all the moves today. Really let you know our thoughts and everything like that. And before we get into this podcast real quick, I want to shout out Sleeper Fantasy because they're running a free Nikola Jokic square for users today. So make sure to hop on Sleeper if you like free money, because they are running a free Jokic square today. And you can get this free square as well as an 100% match on your first deposit up to $500 when you use code FF23 on Sleeper. The link to that will be the top link down below in the description. But yeah, guys, that's really all I got for this. And all right, guys. So this is Tyler. He's going to be my co-host for this podcast. Tyler, how you doing today, my guy?
Doing great, brother. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Excited to talk about the NFL and everything that's been going on. So first thing on the slate today, we're going to be talking about the top signings from free agency so far. These are not re-signings or trades. These are just the top transactions. So we're going to start it off with probably the most impactful signing of free agency in terms of just signings, like I said, not trades or anything. Kirk Cousins to the Falcons. Tyler, what are your thoughts on that signing to start it off?
I think the Falcons have a great offense, but I think they were lacking in the QB aspect. So now they got a proven quarterback in Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, new coach, new quarterback. Kyle Pitts is finally probably going to get the ball more than like twice a game.
Probably. Not positive, though.
So, yeah, but I think that's going to be a completely different offense than what we've seen with Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, I agree with you. The one thing I want to point out here is the 4 years on this contract. I don't think they should have signed Kirk Cousins for 4 years. That's kind of a crazy amount to pay somebody coming off an Achilles, who's not like an all-time great at 36 years old. But you can't hate Kirk Cousins for this, because shout out Kirk Cousins. This man has made so much money in the NFL. This is his third like massive deal as an NFL starting quarterback. And not too many people could say that seriously. Like, this guy has gotten paid. I think, is it over 400 million now?
I think it's at 412 or something like that.
Yeah, and career earnings, like once this deal's up, because when he was on the Redskins at the time, he kept getting franchise tags, so he was making top of the league money for that. And then once got to the Vikings, signed a massive deal, then signed an extension, and then now he's on the Falcons getting paid like crazy too. So this is shout out Kirk Cousins. I assume he's going to end his career there. Not positive. I mean, he might have like another year or two. He'll be 39 when the contract's up, so we'll see if he's going to play anymore after that. But in terms of football, what do I think about this move? I think it's a really good upgrade for the Falcons, obviously. Do I think this pushes them, threads the needle to be a Super Bowl contender? Not this year, at least. They still have some more upgrades on the offense. But, I mean, anytime you have a chance to get like a top 12 quarterback in the league when you have Desmond Ridder, it's definitely a good move. So I definitely like this for the Falcons. I think it's a good pickup, and they definitely got a lot better. They're definitely going to be a tough out, at least in the NFC South. It's going to be tough for them. It's going to be them and the Bucks, but we'll see who wins it between those two. Next up, another big addition. Russell Wilson obviously was released from the Broncos. He is headed to Pittsburgh to join the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, we got the Justin Fields news. We'll talk about that later as well. But Russell Wilson will be the starter, at least to start the season and everything like that. It's his job to take control of. Tyler, what are your thoughts on Russell Wilson to the Steelers?
The first thing I think is cheap money. They got him for literally pennies.
The Broncos have to pay him.
Yeah, so he signed a super cheap contract. Apparently, what I saw is that he's going to sign a major contract at the end of the year. But, I mean, Super Bowl winning quarterback. And now that I mean, he's obviously going to be starting in front of Justin Fields. So that's a teacher for their backup who's probably going to take the starting spot eventually. But I mean, I think it was a great move. I don't think there was anything wrong.
I agree.
There was no doubts.
The Steelers quarterbacks since Ben Roethlisberger left has just been Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. Like, this is an upgrade. And Mitch Trubisky. Like, this is definitely an upgrade. I don't care if you think Russell Wilson's gotten worse. Obviously, he looked worse the last 2 years in Denver, but he's still better than these guys. And I mean, if you look at last year's stats, 26 touchdowns, I believe just 8 picks, had an 100 passer rating, had a really good season overall statistically. I know the eye test didn't exactly jump off the page in some of those games, lost some games he should have won. However, I don't think he was the only issue in Denver. I think there were more issues. I don't think his coach bought into him from the jump. And I think the Steelers are definitely happy to get Russell Wilson for literally nothing, pretty much, contract-wise.
Basically
nothing.
I
mean, it's a good pickup overall. Like, at worst, he's terrible, and you paid nothing for him. So it's no risk for the Steelers. And you put Justin Fields in. The worst-case scenario, you put Justin Fields in.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Worst-case scenario. And they've proven to be able to win 9 games with Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph. So I think it's definitely an upgrade there. I like the move. Next move, we're going to talk about Saquon to the Eagles. We can speed these up a little more now that we're not on quarterbacks. I love this move personally. Wasn't going to talk about many running back moves because so many players move from the running back position. But Saquon, I think, is going to have a similar impact that McCaffrey had on the 49ers, where his game is going to elevate, and he's just going to elevate his team even from that running back position.
Yep. Now that Saquon's not a single threat on the team like he was for the Giants, behind a good O-line, I mean, there's the passing offense that they have to worry about, plus the running offense. I think it's just going to be a match made in heaven for the Eagles.
I agree with you 100% because Saquon can do similar things to McCaffrey. Yeah, McCaffrey's a little bit better, but I don't think he's that much better. I think Saquon's been in a bad situation. And as long as he can stay healthy like McCaffrey's been able to do, I think this is a huge pickup. Next, Derrick Henry to the Ravens. Tyler, what are your thoughts on that one?
Everybody knows that the Harbaughs love to run the football. Both of them. You see with the Chargers, you see with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, rushing quarterback or running back quarterback, basically.
Don't say that.
Passing,
he'll get pissed. Ravens fans will get pissed too.
That's true, yeah. But I mean, a passing and running dual threat offense, basically. I mean, Lamar can run the ball, Derrick Henry can run the ball, or he can just
Derrick
air
Henry
it out.
can throw it. He's had his jump throws.
That's happened before. I mean, I think it's a great pickup by the Ravens, and AFC North should be scared.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an awesome pickup. I do think it doesn't. I'm not trying to be too biased because I am a Bengals fan, but legitimately thinking here, I don't think it moves the needle because I don't think that was their problem. But I definitely think it elevates their offense more too. But I think they have to go out and get a legitimate number 1 receiver still because, I mean, Zay Flowers had a really nice rookie year. But do I think he has like top 10 receiver potential? I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but I'm not going to say he does yet either. Next up, a huge defensive signing, Danielle Hunter to the Texans. He's obviously had an awesome career in Minnesota. Obviously been one of the best defensive players in the league for a while. This just makes the Texans even better, even scarier, helps their defense out a ton. I don't think there's that much to say about this. Awesome pickup for them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, good offense already, solid, great offense already, but now they even just boost up their defense even more. So,
I agree. It's like you're never going to go wrong adding a great pass rusher who's been doing it for a long time. He's also only 29. It's not that old for pass rushers. Pass rushers, a lot of times, they keep going a little bit longer than other positions in the NFL. I mean, TJ Watt's 29. Myles Garrett's 28, so it's not like he's super old either.
Khalil Mack's in his 30s and just came off the best season of his career.
100%. They usually can play a little bit longer and have impact into their 30s, so I think that's a good deal, even for the amount they paid. Next, Calvin Ridley to the Titans. I put Texans in our notes. I meant Titans. I don't know. They definitely overpaid.
Yes,
it's a good pickup. It's a really good pickup. But they definitely overpaid.
$92 million?
I want to say it was 4 years, 92. I think it was 23 a year, so that would add up. The one thing I will say is you kind of have to overpay when you're a market like Tennessee and you have a quarterback that you see potential in being a franchise quarterback, which I think a lot of people saw with Levis this year. He was really solid. You
Mhm.
kind of have to overpay to get him a weapon. He has D Hop, obviously, but D Hop's getting up there in age. And
Yeah,
The one thing I don't like about this contract is Calvin Ridley isn't exactly young. He's 29 years old, even though
right.
he said he feels like he's 25 because he was suspended for a year and missed a year before that. So, which does have some legitimacy to it. Like he hasn't taken as many hits as a lot of these guys, even though he's 29, but that would add up to being like 27, not 25.
Yeah,
But I, I like the move. I just think they overpaid. But would I have? It's kind of like in the NBA when you have a player like the Celtics, for example, had Jaylen Brown this year, who got paid the biggest contract in NBA history. But like, what are you gonna do? Not pay him? Like, you have to. You're kind of in that situation. This is kind of like that. It's not a re-signing, but like, you need to bring in another good receiver for your young quarterback if you want him to develop. So I think it's a good signing overall.
yeah. Basically, what I had in my notes was it gives Levis another weapon, but I'm not completely sold on him being a
Yeah,
franchise quarterback yet. And I think maybe with a couple options on the Titans, it might really kind of flourish on what kind of quarterback he's going to be.
agreed, agreed. So overall, we both like it. We just think overpay.
Overpaid
Um,
for sure. But
Hollywood Brown to the Chiefs. This was a recent move from the last couple of days over the weekend. I love this move personally. He's going to end up being a beast. This is kind of like what they did with Juju 2 years ago.
yeah,
Sign like a really good receiver, not like a superstar receiver, to a 1 year deal, kind of a 1 year prove it deal. And I feel like Hollywood Brown's going to have a 1,000+ yard season, be probably the number 2 on the Chiefs. Is Rashee Rice probably gonna be the number 1? I'd say he probably is. He had a
I
really good rookie year.
I would say so unless there's like a drastic decline for some reason, but I don't really see that happening. But I
Yeah,
mean,
agreed.
we have like a veteran wide receiver at this point. I feel like going to the best quarterback in the league, no debate.
Yeah,
I mean, I
veteran,
just
but
don't
still
see.
very young. I wanna say he's
Yeah,
26. He's still very young. It's just he's been in the league for a while. Came in at, like,
yeah.
21.
I just don't see how this could possibly go wrong for the Chiefs.
Agreed. Ant's another deep threat. He's extremely fast, but he also can run the route tree too. Good pickup overall for the
Yeah.
Chiefs. Christian Wilkins to the Raiders beefs up that Raiders defensive line, puts him next to Max Crosby. He's gonna be on the interior. What are your thoughts on that one?
I mean, you have how much did he get paid? I think it was like $84 million.
Yeah, it was a fat bag.
He got a huge bag. I mean, he's a great defensive player. I don't know if they're going to be on the same side, but him and Max Crosby both coming at you from either the same side or separate sides is just scary all around. I mean, Max Crosby is one of the best defensive players in the league. So is Christian Wilkins. I mean, there's nothing really to say besides just a fantastic pickup.
Agreed,
Literally.
100%. He's definitely going to boost that interior, going to boost the run defense, going to help the run defense out a lot. Overall, I'm a big fan of this pickup. I don't think there's any way that it's not going to help them. He's still a young defensive tackle too. He's got years left.
Yeah.
And defensive tackles have shown they can age well as well. So not a bad position to pay. We know defensive tackles get paid, so it's not like it's an overpay or anything like that. And the Raiders, they need exciting players to come into that roster, to come into
Hmm.
that culture. Everything I've heard sounds like Antonio Pierce. The players love him. So it's a good pickup overall. Definitely going to boost that defense up some more. Another big pickup, Bobby Wagner to the Commanders. The Commanders have been active. They brought in Austin Eckler and stuff, but I wasn't going to talk about that because so many running backs have been moved. Truthfully, I'm only going to talk about like the big running backs that were moved. So Bobby Wagner to the Commanders, one of the best linebackers of all time, showed he still has a lot left in the tank last year. He's still very good. And it wasn't this contract extremely cheap. Do you have the number pulled up now?
I could probably pull it up. Bobby Wagner. Let's see. He signed for
Wait, no, not 1 year. 1 year, 8.5 million. That is an extremely good deal for the Commanders. Yeah, he's old, but he's still very good. He's still extremely fast and athletic too. Like he takes care
yeah.
of his body a lot. He stays in tip-top shape. I think that's an awesome signing for them because even football-wise, say he got hurt and missed the whole season, he's going to help the locker room a ton. There's going
Mhm.
to be a lot of young guys on that Commanders team too, so he's going to help the locker room out a lot. And overall, I just think it's a solid pickup. Nice veteran presence to bring into the Commanders, and just a really good player. I don't think this goes wrong in any way. It's not going to be bad for your locker room either. Really good guy as well.
Right. I would exactly what you just said, but I think the veteran presence is really important to teach the young guys. The one thing I will say about the Commanders though is I feel like they've been adding a lot of good players that are kind of starting to get up there a little bit, like
Yeah,
Eckler, Bobby Wagner. I think they added Zach Ertz as well.
they
Kind of
did, I
like out of
believe.
their primes a little bit, I believe.
Yeah, you said to
It's
me the
just
other
like
day they
late
like made
signings.
like the 2018 Pro Bowl team or something.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like they kind of jumped on these moves a little bit late.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's the only thing I really don't like about it.
yeah, but they're all like 1 year deals, so it's kind of like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Who cares?
Yeah,
It's 1 year deals. You're not tied to this money. So I think overall it's pretty good move.
yeah,
Next move I'm going to talk about is the Saints picked up Chase Young today.
yeah.
That news came out today. I didn't see the number. I don't think there was a number price wise yet on what the contract is.
I can look that up if you wanna.
Yeah. Overall, though, I think it's a good pickup. I'm not sure about the price though, but the only thing with Chase Young that I'm in question about is his motor. But maybe I want to say maybe a change of scenery helps, but the change of scenery to the 49ers who were in the Super Bowl didn't seem to help.
Yeah,
So I don't know if I like this pickup. This is pretty much it's a $13 million contract, 1 year. So
1 year.
it's a
It's a
proven
prove it.
deal.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't mind this then if it's 1 year because obviously, they're not tied to that money or anything like that. But I just kind of want to see the motor out of Chase Young. I want to see him give full effort and see him really live up to that potential because the dude's a freak athlete. He should be better than he is. Is he still 25 years old? He's still very young.
he's young. Yeah.
He's 24. He's literally
Okay.
24 and he's
Yeah,
been in the league 4 seasons. He's very
he's
young
younger than I
still.
thought he was. Yeah.
No, he's literally the age of some DNs coming into the NFL right now. Seriously, like he's the same age, and he's been in the league. This is going to be his 5th season. So I like this deal. I just think he might have needed another change of scenery. We'll see. But if he plays up to his potential, just half of what he was supposed to be, this is an
Yeah.
awesome signing.
I mean, I'm just looking at his postseason stats, but 1 sack throughout the entire postseason. I just feel like you could definitely get more out of him. So, I don't know. I feel like he just needs. I mean, Nick Bosa is great, but like he needs something else that's not Nick Bosa to like kind of improve him. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's kind of disappointing from him a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just like I said, the thing with him is motor. We're gonna see if he's got that dog in him, bro. Like that ass.
Yeah,
Like we're gonna see
literally.
here. We're gonna see here if he's got that dog in him because it didn't seem like he has it, but we'll see here. The next move we're gonna talk about is a sad move for me. DJ Reader is headed to the Lions. The Bengals lose DJ Reader here. Um, a great pickup for the Lions. He's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the NFL. He was awesome for my Bengals for years. The Lions, one thing they struggled with all season long, or not struggled with, one thing they excelled at all season long was their run defense, and they're just making that run defense even more unstoppable. Their run defense was awesome all year long. I do think they need to go out and get secondary help, but bolstering that D line even more is definitely helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Their passing defense was a little bit iffy sometimes,
Hmm.
but the run defense was just immaculate. And I mean, this move just only makes it better. There's really nothing else to say about it besides it just improves them a whole lot in the run.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I just think that makes their run defense even better and
Yeah,
makes them really solidified as maybe the top run defense in the entire NFL. Next, Josh Jacobs to the Packers. I said we'd mention the top running back free agent signings. He technically is a top running back free agent signing, even though I'm not a fan of this signing at all. Not a fan. This is the
yeah,
first thing that I'm going to be like, not a fan at all. I don't understand this signing from the Packers' point of view. Aaron Jones um, is a better running back than Josh Jacobs. Legitimately,
yep,
he's a better running back than Josh Jacobs. I know Josh Jacobs is like 3 years younger. I really don't care because Aaron Jones literally does not look like he's aging right now. Like, he doesn't look like somebody that's going to fall off as soon as he turns 30. He's 29 right now. I don't think that's happening. I think he
Right.
would have been good for another 2 years or so and been a solid running back. He does a lot more in the pass game as well. He's a lot more versatile. Josh Jacobs pretty much is getting a fat bag off of one league-leading season. Outside of that, he's been kind of mid. I just think Aaron Jones is a better all-around versatile running back. So I don't understand this move whatsoever. And you had to pay Josh Jacobs more than him. It makes no sense. I don't get this.
The
I
the
don't
only
think it's an
reason,
upgrade.
yeah, no, I don't think it is at all either. The only reason it made sense to me at first was when they still had Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs on the roster at the same time, and it made
Yeah.
for a solid like 1-2 punch. But
Yeah.
now that Aaron Jones is gone, I just think it was a dumb decision. And I think it was a dumb decision for the Packers and for the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't get it. I think the Raiders honestly should have held on to him and stuff.
Yeah, I
Really
agree.
not a fan of it. Don't think it's a good
No.
decision. Don't think it really works out for either side. Aaron Jones to the Vikings. Love this move for the Vikings. This Vikings team is going to be scary offensively. I don't care if Sam Darnold is the quarterback. I'm not saying they're going to be like the best offense in the NFL, but Kevin O'Connell is a hell of an offensive coordinator. He's very creative. I know he's the head coach, but he's obviously the play caller too. He's very creative offensively. Pretty much all you need in this offense is an accurate quarterback. Like Kirk Cousins last year, I know he, like we said, he's like a top 12 quarterback, but he was on pace to throw like 50 touchdowns
Yeah,
last year before he
literally.
got hurt. Like Sam Darnold is good enough to be okay, I think, and
Yeah.
make them a 9-8 football team. I think he's good enough to do that. Aaron Jones, one of the most versatile backs in the league. That's a very good pickup for his offense. And overall, I'm a fan of a lot of the Vikings things they did. We'll talk about that later, but big fan of this pickup. And he's going to be hungry to beat that NFC North team every chance he gets. He's going to be hungry to beat the Packers every chance he gets.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great pickup considering that Alexander Madison just went to the Raiders. So I mean, Josh Jacobs to the Pack, and then they're all just kind of going in a little bit of a loop right now, which is interesting to me. But I mean, I think it's a great pickup considering Alexander Madison's gone now. So I mean, I think they're going to draft a QB as well. So I think the offense is going to be completely different, except for Jay Jettis staying there. So
yeah, agreed. I really like the Vikings moves, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Next, we got two more signings we're going to talk about, like strictly signings. Patrick Queen to the Steelers. Big fan of this. One of the fastest, most versatile linebackers in the league. Mike Tomlin's going to find a way to be able to use him creatively, make him a playmaker. Also, another one of those things, you stole one of the best players from your division rival, so obviously really good pickup there. Patrick Queen has had some really great moments in the NFL, and he has had some not so great moments so far in his young career. But I think the highs outweigh the lows a ton. And overall, I'm not mad at this pickup at all. I think he bolsters that Steelers defense even more. And I don't think it was that fat of a contract. I want to say it was 3 years, $41 million, I want to say.
Yes, 3 years, 41.
Yeah, so that's not a bad deal. Pretty friendly deal. I think it's definitely a good pickup for the Steelers.
Yeah, I didn't know much about Patrick Queen until I started researching for this podcast, but I saw a lot of talks about him maybe just being like a systematic defender. So I'm kind of just excited to see how he plays out, not being in the same Ravens defense that he's been in.
I think he's going to be fine because he's extremely athletic, and I think that just translates. He's really fast. He's still young. He's 24 years old still. He won't be 25 till the beginning of the regular season. Overall, I think it's a solid high. It's a very high upside deal. Like there's a chance he ends up being an all-pro on the Steelers, and this is a freaking steal.
Right.
And at worst, I think he stays the same player. And he might be right now $10 million player instead of 13, which boo-hoo, it's not the end of the world. So I like the deal because of the upside. Robert Hunt to the Panthers. Awesome pickup. Big-time offensive lineman going to the Panthers. The Panthers obviously struggled badly to protect Bryce Young last season. And the Panthers have pretty much said they're going all in, honestly, to make Bryce Young good, which is good. Which is good because they didn't do it in year one. Year one, he was Adam Thielen at 38 years old was his number one target in the slot. So Panthers look like they're trying to protect him. They're trying to go all in to make this kid get good. And it's good to see. If you're a Panthers fan, I'd be happy. Because Bryce Young, I'm not out on yet. Like, we need to see more. I don't ever fully judge a quarterback on their rookie season because there's been a lot of guys that end up being great that had horrible rookie seasons. Look at Peyton Manning's rookie season stats. They're absolutely awful. Look at Trevor Lawrence a couple years ago. He was just as bad as Zach Wilson his rookie year and ended up being good. It's about your system and the team around you a lot of times your rookie year. So Bryce Young, I'm glad they're trying to protect him and bring him in weapons. I love that pickup for them.
Yeah, I agree. They're trying to protect him. I saw that they're hosting a camp for Mike Williams, I believe, and a couple of other receivers. They're trying to give him some more weapons and protect him as well. I mean, I don't know how many times he got sacked this year, but I know
it was a lot.
It was an absurd amount. So
and he's small, so like it's not. He can't take. He's not going to be able to take those hits constantly his whole career.
Right. So I think this is a perfect pickup for the Panthers.
Agreed. Interior offensive lineman to help out Bryce Young. Awesome pickup.
No.
We can move quicker through these. We got the re-signings here. Obviously, we don't have to talk about these as much because these players are going to be on the same teams they were before. But obviously, the biggest re-signing of the entire offseason is Chris Jones getting a 5-year massive bag from the Chiefs. Well-deserved. Top 3 defensive player in the NFL, I would say. Most important player on the Chiefs outside of Patrick Mahomes, arguably. Maybe Travis Kelce is more important. But at least he's the second most important to like have locked up on contract because Kelsey's getting up there in age. Like
you don't want
Chris
him
Jones
going
needs
anywhere.
to be on the team. Yes. And I'm glad they figured out a contract for their sake. Obviously, as a Bengals fan, I'm not that hyped about it. But overall, it's a really good move for the Chiefs. They needed to get it done. They got it done. They gave him the Brinks truck, which they had to do, obviously. He deserves it. And overall, I think it's a really good deal for the Chiefs, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he played great last year. Expect him to do it again for the remainder of his contract, honestly. I mean, doesn't look like he's slowing down. So.
Arguably had his best year last year, too.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's a big deal, too. He's 29 years old. He's going to be 30 before the season starts. But like I said, defensive tackles / defensive ends, they age well. They're one of the positions that ages the best outside of obviously the quarterback position. So I think he'll be able to keep it going through the contract, and at least the first 3 years of the contract stay at the same level. Might fall off a little bit towards the end, but I don't think he's falling off a cliff or anything. As long as he can stay healthy. Leonard Williams back to Seattle. Obviously, that was a mid-season trade at the trade deadline. They get to keep him. In Seattle. Young pass rusher, very good pass rusher. Big fan of them keeping him. Definitely going to help out that Seahawks defense. Mike McDonald's in Seattle too as well now. He's a defensive-minded coach. So good to make sure you keep another really solid defender on that Seahawks team. And the Seahawks have struggled rushing the passer the last few years. He was really good when he came to Seattle. So I think he's just going to keep that, make that defense better once again.
And he got a massive bag. I'm looking at $64.5 million for 3 years.
Yeah, he got a fat bag, but he does deserve it. They need a pass rusher desperately, and he's definitely going to help them out a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big fan of it. Yeah. Just overall. I don't think it hurts them in any way at all.
No, it makes them better.
And then Mike Evans back to the Bucs. I was talking about this the other day. I think it was to you. Like, Mike Evans is like sneakily going to end up being considered a top 10 receiver of all time, and he's never even going to be a top 10 receiver at any point in his career.
Yes, just the consistency is insane.
It's insane. Like I don't think he's gonna age like at all. Like during this contract, at least. How many years is it? It's only a few years, right?
I believe so.
I want to say 2
years. 2 years.
I don't think he's getting worse in these 2 years. Like I think he's still going to be the same 1,000-yard Mike Evans. I'd say actually he was arguably a top 10 receiver this year. I think he could definitely be considered a top 10 receiver this year. But it's just the dude's good. He's physical as hell. He still beats people deep. He's still athletic as hell.
Yes.
He has great hands, great footwork. Like
he's a beast. You said the other day, his athleticism is off the charts. And 1,000 yards for what, 10 seasons now?
10 now, yeah.
Yeah, is insane. I mean, to play at that consistent of a level for so long, I mean, there's no reason for you not to sign him if he's going to keep playing, especially
And
because he's going to keep playing at that level.
there's legitimately a shot this guy ends up having the second most yards in NFL history to Jerry Rice. Like, he's got a shot. I think right now it's Fitz. Fitz might be third. But I want to say it's Fitzgerald has the second most yards. And Fitzgerald's actually, I think Mike Evans is carving out a very similar career to Larry Fitzgerald, where he's going to play for forever, be very good for forever. But like Larry Fitzgerald was only like a top 5 receiver for a short time, but he was very good for a long time. I think that's similar for Mike Evans. And the statistics, like he's going to be one of those guys where like people look back in 50 years and be like, oh my God, this guy was insane. And like, we need to appreciate Mike Evans. He's very underrated still.
Consistency is key, and he's the king at it.
And he's never hurt. He's never hurt.
Never hurt. Yeah.
No, he doesn't take hits, really. He's a big dude, but it's not that big weight-wise. He's kind of slim, honestly. But yeah, really, really good thing to bring Bucks. And he's a Bucks legend.
Yeah.
So the community loves him. He wanted to be in Tampa Bay. And with that signing, they also brought back Baker. On a 3-year, how much was it? I want to say it's like $100 million. 108?
100 million.
100 million flat.
3 years, 100 million.
Yeah, I was right at first. I don't know why I switched my answer. Love that signing. He was also obviously awesome last season. Took them to the playoffs. In the first year without Tom Brady, he had a better season last year than Tom Brady and them had the year before, and the roster was better the year before. So very impressed with what Baker did. I think he keeps it up. I think Baker's very talented. I just think he got a bad deal with the Browns because he played the entire season with a messed up shoulder bad. And it's almost like they got rid of him because he didn't play well with a messed up shoulder. Like he was trying to fight through it to make the team better, and he didn't end up playing well. And he got screwed over because of it. And then last year, I think his mental state was just messed up because he went into this year and he was awesome. He was awesome all season long.
All season.
From the jump, like first week of the year, they beat the Vikings like in a game. They were supposed to win like 3 or 4 games last year. They were supposed to be horrible. And he was very good. Instead. Yeah, he was very good. And they were close to making the conference championship. They were really close. They had a really good game against the Lions. Yep. And overall, I just think bringing that duo back is going to make them one of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL once again. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, I love Baker Mayfield. I think like this year really proved it. Like he is a good quarterback. I think he was just in a bad situation. So bring back your number one weapon. I mean, give confidence to your quarterback by signing him to a deal that's worth $100 million. I think he's honestly going to do better this year than he did last year.
I agree with you 100% there. I think Baker's going to have an awesome season. I think he's arguably going to be a top 10 borderline quarterback this season. And I think he's going to lead the Bucks back to the playoffs. I do.
Yep.
I think everybody's writing the Falcons set in stone as the NFC South champions, and I just don't think it's like that. I think it's going to be tough for the Falcons to win that.
No, I completely agree.
Daquan Jones back to the Bucks. Another good pickup. I'm just laughing that I spelled Bucks like the NBA Bucks. I'm so used to talking about the NBA. I spelled it like the NBA Bucks. I'm an idiot. I'm cracking up at that. Another really good signing there. Definitely think that's going to help the Bucks. And overall, or I put Bucks. Sorry, I'm talking about the Bills.
Signed to the Bills.
He signed to the Bills. He re-signed with the Bills. I misprint on my. As I was talking, I was like, "Wait, Daquan Jones plays for the Bills." I misprint on my sheet. Sorry. Good offensive line pickup to bring him back. Not a pickup, but good re-signing on the offensive line to bring him back. Josh Allen needs protection. He's one of your best offensive linemen, and you can't go wrong bringing back a great offensive lineman. So overall, great re-signing from the Bills. I'm just an idiot because I was reading. I was like, wait, he does not play for the Bucks. What the fuck am I? I was like, did he? I was like, wait, why did I put he re-signed? He just signed with the Bucks. Wasn't he on the Bills? I'm fucking stupid.
Yeah, I had it. I didn't have the team that he re-signed to on here, and so I was just like going with the flow. But I mean, Josh Allen's a top 3 quarterback in the league, and you gotta protect him as much as possible. And I mean, you just can't go wrong with a major offensive line signing whenever you have a great quarterback leading your offense.
No,
Literally.
agreed. I think it's an awesome signing. I definitely think it's very useful. And overall, I think it's going to help him out a ton. Next up, Colts re-signed Michael Pittman Jr. Great re-signing here. Michael Pittman Jr., one of the best receivers in the NFL, one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. He's been putting up numbers every single season with a different quarterback every year throughout his career so far.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do it once again this year with a different quarterback because Anthony Richardson is a different quarterback because
And
Gardner Minshew, hopefully he stays healthy. His play
hopefully
style is
stays
going to be
healthy.
tough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Michael Pittman Jr. is very undervalued and underappreciated from NBA fans.
No, I
Or
love
NBA fans, NFL fans. What the hell am I talking about? My mind is so set in the NBA right now while the NFL's
No,
in the
yeah,
offseason.
I was just gonna let you roll with it, but I mean, he's good. I love Michael Pittman. He's great receiver. It's a little bit less than I expected him to get. I thought he was gonna get more money, honestly, re-signing. But I mean, just the way I just think that he's like super consistent. Like he just keeps getting better, in my opinion. And I just thought he was gonna get more money than what he did. That's the only real complaint I have about it.
Yeah, I
From his
know.
standpoint.
It's literally overall a great pickup, and I think it's gonna make them a lot better moving forward, or like to keep him there and everything like that because he's still young. He's still going to be very productive for a long time. All right, moving on to the Chargers because they didn't re-sign technically, but these are some restructures they made to some contracts. They restructured the contracts of Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Obviously, they're two best defensive players, arguably besides Derwin James, two of their three best defensive players. Tyler, I'll let you take it away mostly here. This is your team, so go ahead.
I mean, I'm excited for this move, especially. I mean, they both took restructures that they also took pay cuts, so it freed up a lot of cap space for us.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get the big four to all take pay cuts because I mean, we lost Mike Will and Keenan Allen. But I mean, Bosa and Mac are like fantastic duo. When they were playing together, I think they recorded like, I think it was 25% of their plays were all led in or all ended in sacks, which is ridiculous to be fair. But I think with them both taking pay cuts as well, they definitely believe what Harbaugh is like building for their team, and it's nice to see like two veteran players like kind of come together to, I guess, like bring hope to the team that something's going to change, hopefully, because we were terrible last season. So, I mean, I'm just excited about this move all around. I didn't think we were going to be able to keep Khalil or Joey, and we kept them both, which was, I mean, it was just mind blowing at the time. It still is right now, but.
Yeah, agreed with you. Anytime you get two really good players to take a pay cut, it's definitely a good thing for your team. It's going to make your team stay the same, but free up some money. They're going to get better in that way because now they have more money to spend on more people. And overall, I don't think there's any way you could say this move was bad for the Chargers. Truthfully, I just think it made them better as a team, better off as a franchise. Maybe not better as a team, but better off. And more flexibility with their franchise. So definitely a big fan of those moves. Next, we are going to move into the trades now. We're going to move into the trades that happened during the first week of free agency. So not technically free agency signings, but really big moves happened in the trades. Brian Burns to the Giants is the biggest move, obviously. One of the best defensive players in the NBA or NFL. God, my mind is stuck on the NBA.
It's all right. It's all right. It's only
NFL. Dear God. All right. Brian Burns to the Giants. Huge move for the Giants. Obviously, they lost Saquon, but this honestly is a bigger move and a bigger deal for them. This is going to bolster their defense a ton. This is one of the best pass rushers in the entire NFL. He's still extremely young. He's 25 years old.
Yep.
He's only going to get better. And overall, just great deal for the Giants. Great pickup for the Giants. And I absolutely love this move for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, great defensive piece to add. If they can just get their offense kind of sitting right, they would look like a solid team. I mean, Danny Dimes into year 6 is a little bit iffy still, in my opinion, but I mean, their defense are definitely they're making huge strides into making it better.
Agreed. And anytime you get one of the best pass rushers in the league, that is huge. I believe, did they sign him to an extension as well?
When
they traded for him?
Don't know. Let me see if I can find something about that.
Let me see. Yep. They signed him to an extension. 5 years, $141 million contract. Yep, that's what I thought.
88 million guaranteed.
Yep, and a $35 million signing bonus. Yeah, a lot of freaking money, but that's what defensive ends go for when you're this good. That's the second highest
Mhm.
paid position for a reason outside of quarterback. It's very important to the success of a team and the success of a defense. And overall, I don't think they're going to regret this. You're paying a lot of money, but at the end of the day, he's also 25. He's extremely young. He's only
Yep.
going to get better. And a great move for the Giants overall.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean,
here, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, he's only gonna be 30 by the time the deal's over, and that's still a solid age for a defensive end. Like they
Yeah,
still have years left in the tank at that
th-
point.
we talked
Compared,
about Chris Jones might be like a 3-year contract at this level. This is
Mhm.
5 years at this level, barring injuries. Stays healthy,
Yes,
doesn't
Mhm.
have a catastrophic injury. This should be 5 years at this level.
Yes, and then
Um,
there's a possibility of even an extension at the end of that if he still
oh,
is healthy.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. They might sign an extension midway through that for another 2
Mhm.
years or something and add it on.
Yeah,
Keenan Allen to the Bears. Tyler, I know that was one of your favorite players ever.
yeah,
Arguably the greatest Chargers receiver ever, probably the greatest Chargers receiver ever,
yeah,
probably a top 10 Charger ever. Had a hell of
yeah.
a run on the Chargers. Still a very good player. Probably had his best season of his career last year, considering he only played in 12 games, I believe. So he was
His,
averaging
yeah,
over 100 yards a game or like right at 100 yards a game.
yep.
I know also he was force fed a bit because they didn't really have anybody else to throw the ball to. But I mean, he's still a very good route runner, a very good receiver overall. And
Mhm.
for the Bears, great move, in
Great
my
move for the
opinion.
Bears,
For the
but
Chargers, what the hell are you doing? Like the
I'm
Panthers, it made sense because like they're not going to the Super Bowl this year. Like they
yeah.
got good value in return for Brian Burns. What did they get back? We didn't go over that. We need to talk about what they got back. I
Then
want to say,
let's
uh,
see.
yeah,
They
2024 second round pick, um,
uh
2025 fifth round selection, and they get to swap picks a couple of times. So overall, good value for the Panthers. I'd take that. You get a
yeah,
second round pick for somebody that's not gonna you're not gonna extend anyways. You're not gonna pay, so you
yeah.
might as well get something in return. The Bears got or the Chargers got fleeced. They got a fourth round pick for one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's older, but he's still very good. And he's
I
not as old as you would think. He's only 31. Like I know he seems like
yeah.
he's like 38 years old. He's not.
I
Um,
mean, 31 years old. He's just like Mike Evans in terms of consistency. I
yeah,
mean,
it seems like he's getting better as he gets older.
I would say he's definitely probably the greatest wide receiver in Chargers history for sure. He
Yeah.
just hit his 10,000 yards mark this year, and
Mhm.
he still looks like he did 4 years ago. Like honestly, like he still is as consistent as he was.
Agreed.
The only one thing I don't understand is why the Chargers would ask for a pay cut to be taken by Keenan Allen, especially when he's like him. He's like the last staple of like the San Diego to LA move,
Yeah.
and he still is playing at an out of his mind level.
Yeah, I
And
don't understand when teams get rid of like they're a legendary player in their franchise, like when he's
it's
still
a
good. I never
franchise
understand that.
staple in the
Especially a
franchise.
franchise that doesn't have many legendary players. So that
We,
I
we
don't
got like 5 or 6
yeah, it's like him, Gates, LT,
Rivers.
Rivers, who was the quarterback back in the 70s? Dan Fouts.
Yes,
And they
and
had
then
Kellen
Junior
Winslow.
Seau. I mean, he's a
Junior Seau
staple.
and Kellen Winslow.
Yeah,
Those are
there's
like
about
Chargers
seven.
legends. Um,
7 for an entire franchise is a little bit absurd, but
so I don't get that, but we're about to get to my team, who I'm
yeah,
pissed off about a move to, so that's all right. We can
it
both hurt.
happens.
Joe Mixon, a top 10 running back. I'd say you can definitely say he's a top 10 running back in the NFL.
Yeah,
He's been a top 10 running back for like 6 or 7 years now, pretty much since his second year in the league. He's been a top 10 running back. And we traded him for nothing. We traded him for a 6th-round pick. Originally, we released him. Then we
yeah,
traded him for a 6th-round pick to the Texans before we officially released him. kind of understand this move, kind of don't. I'm pissed off about this move because Joe Mixon was my favorite Bengal. I love Joe Mixon. I think this move personally hurts more in the locker room than it does on the field. I think Joe Mixon was the leader of the Bengals. He was the heart and soul of the Bengals. He embodied everything. Like, he loved Cincinnati. He loved fighting his ass
Yep.
off every day, coming to work with that lunch pail mentality, like playing his ass off, playing his hardest, being the leader of the team. He embraced it. And I think that's a bigger deal for the Bengals personally than I do on the field. On the field, obviously, he was great too. But the Bengals are banking on Chase Brown's going to be a breakout star this year. They're really banking
You
on
got
that. They
Zach
think
Moss
that,
too.
yeah, but it's looking like Chase Brown is going to be the starter. That's what it's
Yeah.
looking like. Like, everything points to that guy being the starter. He was awesome at the end of the season last season. He's extremely fast. NFL.com had him ranked as the #1 breakout star this season. And I can see why. So that's got to be what they're banking on, because otherwise, if he's not good, then it made zero sense, because
Right.
Mixon's still very good. But the Texans, on the Texans' hand, this is a great deal for them.
Yeah.
Makes a ton of sense for them. They needed a really good running back. They got a really good running back, and they paid this man big money.
Yeah, they did.
He becomes one of the highest paid running backs in the NFL once again. And I still think he's got 3 really good years left in the tank in him. He's
Mhm.
only he's only going to be 28 years old at the start of the season, which I know in running back years is older. But at the same time, he didn't look like he was slowing down, and like he had
Yeah.
a 1,000-yard season once again. And I am very curious to see how Joe Mixon plays, not behind the Bengals offensive line, who can't
Yeah.
run block for shit and haven't been able to his whole career.
Yeah.
And casual football fans always argue, well, he only averages like 3.8 yards a carry. And I'm like, well, look at how quickly he gets hit every game. Like,
Yeah. No,
he's
literally.
getting hit behind the line of scrimmage most offensive plays. So,
No, yeah.
I,
Joe Mixon's one of my favorite running backs for sure. And it definitely helps the Texans out a ton. I
yeah,
would say I would argue that Joe Mixon's probably, in terms of the Bengals, the second most important player on the field. Because I
mhm.
mean, people would argue Jamar Chase, but even if you didn't have Jamar, you'd still have T. Higgins out there. Like, I think Joe Mixon was a fantastic running back, and I think it was a great move by the Texans. It just obviously sucks for the Bengals a whole lot.
Agreed. It's definitely a sad move as a Cincinnati fan, but
Yeah.
also I get it. It might have been time to move on, and I'm gonna trust that the front office knows what they're doing. And it was more of a we have a plan move than a panic. We don't want to pay him move. So that's what I'm gonna trust here, and
Yeah.
I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. Um, Now we're gonna move on to our most underrated moves. We got a couple more topics here. So our most underrated move, Tyler, give me your most underrated move of the offseason.
A lot of people have been making jokes about it, but I genuinely think that Justin Fields to the Steelers is the most underrated move of the offseason. He gets to learn behind Russell Wilson, who is obviously he's still a good quarterback. I mean, he
Yeah,
won a Super Bowl, a future Hall of Famer, more than likely. I
yeah.
mean, he's learning from another mobile quarterback. Like Russell
I,
Wilson is
I
very
think
mobile.
Wilson's a lock for the Hall of Fame too for what he's
Yeah,
done.
but I mean, he's just learning from another mobile quarterback. And I mean, obviously he's more mobile than Russell Wilson, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
but young Russell Wilson was very mobile though too.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, he's just gonna be Russell Wilson's gonna be a great teacher for Fields for next year, probably next 2 years, because I think they're gonna sign an extension for Russ. So
Yeah, agreed. As corny as Russell Wilson is, I do think he's a good guy, and I do think he has good intentions. As corny as he is, like I
yeah,
said, as
Mr.
absolutely
Unlimited.
horrendously funny he is with some of the stuff he says, I do think he's a good guy, and I do think it's a good move for the Steelers with Justin Fields. So I like that pick.
Yep.
For me, I'm going with the Vikings team moves, just the Vikings in general. I really liked what they did this offseason. They brought in a lot of good players. You got Blake Cashman, you got Dre Gennard, you got Aaron Jones, you got Sam Darnold. A lot of good pickups with the Vikings, and I don't think they're done yet. I think they're not rebuilding. I think they're retooling the roster. I think Sam Darnold has the potential to be a very good bridge quarterback at worst. And I think you can draft or sign somebody in free agency next season, and this team will be ready to really compete next season, truthfully, because they still have a lot of really good players on that roster. They still have
Yep.
a lot of talent on that roster. And I think the Vikings are going to be a sneaky team that might have a winning record or sneak their way into the playoffs. Truthfully, I really do. They weren't horrible even without Kirk Cousins last year until they fell apart at the end. But for a while, they were holding on to a playoff spot like comfortably. They were like 7-5, and then they just collapsed at the end of the season. I think they lost their last 5 games, but originally they went 4-0 to start without Kirk Cousins, I believe, with Josh Dobbs, or maybe 4-1. They were 3-4, so they were 4-1 without Kirk Cousins. Because they started off 1-4, and then Kirk Cousins played but he was playing good. It wasn't him was the issue. The defense couldn't stop anybody early on, but the defense was really solid in the year, and the offense just couldn't do anything. And Nick Mullins was throwing 8 picks per game. Don't get me started on why they benched Josh Dobbs after one bad game. That made no sense. For Nick Mullins, it made no sense. And then they never went back to Dobbs, which made no sense to me. But Sam Darnold is better than both of those guys. I also think Sam Darnold benefited a year being on the bench the whole year, learning under Kyle Shanahan. I'm not really going to say learning under Brock Purdy, but learning under Kyle Shanahan. I think he learned a lot. I think he's going to be a lot better. And I think the Vikings have similar offensive principles to the 49ers, similar styles of offense. So I think it's a really good pickup. I think it's definitely going to be, a helpful pickup for them. And overall, big fan of this move. Big fan of this move. Their moves in general, sorry.
Well, and I will add to that is that, he went from Shanahan to Kevin O'Connell, and Kevin O'Connell is a part of that whole coaching tree to begin with. So, it's really just the fluidity of it all that's just going to, I think it really won't be that much of a drastic change.
Exactly. Now we're going to get into the winners and losers of free agency. We're each going to have a winner and one loser. Tyler, give me your winner first, and then I'll give you my winner.
So my winner is the Bears. They
did a lot of stuff.
They traded away Justin Fields to obviously draft Caleb Williams. I think it's just set in stone at this point, and they're just taking in a bunch of weapons and as many pieces as they can get to help Caleb Williams really flourish as soon as he gets into the league. You have Keenan Allen, who's a certified veteran in the league. You got DJ Moore, great receiver, a top 10 tight end. Great running backs. His offense is already perfect. Like coming into the league as a rookie, I think that they wanted.
If Caleb Williams fails, he's bad. Like he's bad.
Literally, because seriously. He's set up for success.
Or maybe he's not bad. Maybe the Bears are just a cursed ass franchise if he's bad. When it comes to quarterbacks, maybe they just cannot develop a quarterback to save their life if he's bad. Because he's coming into a great situation. Justin Fields got absolutely screwed over. Not gonna lie. He should be a starter somewhere, but overall, I agree. The Bears had an awesome offseason so far. I'm going with the Texans. Texans made a ton of moves. They brought in a ton of guys. You got Daniel Hunter. You got Joe Mixon, obviously, as the top 2 big names there. They made a lot more moves than just that. I think overall the Texans are going to be one of the best teams in the AFC this year. Pairing C.J. Stroud with a legitimate top 5 to 10 running back is huge. He's going to be helping take the load off C.J. Stroud. And the Texans also run their offense completely under center pretty much, which just helps Joe Mixon a ton, gives him more space, gives him more time to, load up and get a head start going into his runs. And overall, I think this Texans offense is going to be scary, and they bolstered their defense with some of those moves they made. And overall, I think this Texans team is going to be really nice this year, and I think they made a lot of smart, good moves.
Yeah, they made great moves on both sides of the ball, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Upping defense, upping offense, like they were already good. I think they're going to be great this year coming into the season.
100%. 100%. I agree the same. I think they definitely got a lot better. Now, Tyler, give me your loser of free agency.
My free agency loser was the Cowboys. The first 3-day period, I think the only thing they did was re-sign their long snapper. And then after that, they added Eric Kendricks. He played for the Chargers. He was okay. But he's kind of getting towards the end of his career, in my opinion. He wasn't anything special when he was on the Chargers.
Yeah.
And other than that, I can't really even.
They didn't do anything. They just lost players.
Yeah, they lost Tony Pollard.
Which
If
I don't think that's that big a deal, honestly. I think they'll draft a running back and be fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm even looking at some of their free agents right here. It looks like they lost their one of their centers.
Leighton Vander Esch is probably going to retire.
He
They
did. He
lost
actually
Tyron
did.
Smith. He did, yeah.
He did
Tyron Smith.
retire.
They lost Tyron Smith.
Yeah.
Cowboys legendary offensive tackle. He's gone. Went to
They
the
lost
Jets.
three cornerbacks actually.
hmm
Yeah.
I mean, they get Trevon Diggs back, which is huge because he's back from injury. That's huge.
Yeah. But
Um,
I just think they're the losers because they really didn't do much like on the offensive of signing, but they lost.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I don't think they really did much. They lost Michael Gallup as well. That's somebody you didn't
Mhm.
mention. They lost Michael Gallup. But at the same time, I don't think they have that much to do. I think the roster is pretty damn good. It's kind of just do it at this point. Like the
Yeah.
roster's good. Like
Mhm.
I think they'll fix whatever problems they have in the draft. But overall, I agree they're a loser because they really didn't do anything.
Yeah.
My loser is going to be your team, the Chargers. Um,
Yeah.
they're a loser at this point of the offseason. Because we got to see what happens with the draft, obviously, and everything. But just in terms of free agency, before we know what the hell the plan is and everything, they're losers. Because right now, like they must have a better plan than this. They have to, or else they're the biggest idiots I've ever seen. Because like
Yeah.
you lost your two top receivers just because you decided you didn't want to pay them. Was
Mhm.
Mike Williams even a free agent though, or did he have a year left? I think he had a year
I
left.
think they both had a year left.
Yeah, so you didn't even have to do this. You could have you should have extended Keenan in all seriousness.
Yeah.
And Mike Williams, you could have let him play this season and trade him at the deadline, or you just released him though. So why didn't you just release him next year? Didn't fully understand that. I guess they want Quentin Johnson to develop and get him reps, but
But
Garcia's not the highest on Quentin Johnson.
no.
So yeah,
Uh,
that
Now,
to go along with just they didn't really do anything either in terms of bringing players in. Like the guy the Chargers social media team has been hyping up the signing of Gus Edwards,
yeah,
third
we
running
got
back for the
Gus
Ravens. I know
Edwards.
he was the starter, but third running back for the Ravens once everybody was hurt, he was the starter. But
Yeah. We got Gus Edwards.
career
We got a
backup
new
for the Ravens
center.
was the star pickup. And to be honest with you, every running back does good on the Ravens.
Yeah.
You can throw me and you back there, and we'll get a yard or two for
The only
carry.
thing
Like
that makes
shit.
me feel better is that we're going from John to Jim Harbaugh in terms of Gus Edwards to where they're going to be playing in sort of the same, if not exactly the same offensive scheme, which is the
Yeah,
only thing that makes me feel better about signing Gus. But besides that, we got a new center for like a
it's the
year
same
deal.
offensive scheme. You grabbed Greg Roman. That was the
Yeah,
Ravens offensive
yeah,
coordinator who
same
got
exact
fired.
scheme. We got two new tight ends. We got Will Disley and Hayden Hurst, but like
Also, I
even
did
then,
not
I'm not
realize
hyped.
Gus Edwards is old.
Is he really?
He's 29. He'll be 29 in a month.
Yeah.
But
So
it's
he's
not like
going
it's not like he has insane tread on his tires. He's been like a 10
running
carries a
back.
game running back.
Mhm.
Like not a backup like really per se, but like in a split carries offense is what I'm trying to say. Like he splits
Yeah.
carries.
Yeah. He's never just
He
like
hasn't been like Mixon or Derrick Henry where he gets 20 carries a game every
right.
game and they don't really
Mhm.
have a backup.
Yeah. No. They definitely split it up a lot. Especially like with Lamar, like he's taking off with the ball as well. So like I'm not too worried about Gus, but the other signings I haven't really been sold on, like Hayden Hurst. Like we got a proven tight end, but nothing like insane, not like a top 10 by any means. We got Will
They signed
Disley.
Hayden Hurst. I didn't see
hmm
that. When did they sign him? That's a good pickup.
I think
He
it was
was
like
really good
four
on
or
the
five
Bengals 2
days
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah,
He was
like
really
he's
good
a
on the Bengals.
good. I believe he's a good pass blocker. Is
He's
what they
really
mentioned.
athletic. He's really athletic.
Yeah, but we signed him and we signed Will Disley, and besides that, the only other move we made was a center. And so like we haven't really done anything. So
They
like I
made a
don't
lot of
understand.
like depth moves. They didn't sign like
Yeah,
players
but we
that
lost
they
our
didn't
running
sign
back.
anybody that jumps off the page.
Right, we lost our tight end one, our running back one, and our wide receiver 1 and 2, and we've gotten nothing.
Are you
The
upset
only
at
hope.
all though that you lost your running back?
No, not the running back. Eckler definitely slowed down this year, but the one thing I'm truly upset about is that we lost Keenan, and if we don't get Marvin at 5, then I just don't really understand the point. So Vikings, please trade up to the Cardinals and take their spot. and then I'll be fine. I'll be fine with every move that's happened. So
Agreed. But that was a really good first episode. That's everything we got for today. About an hour. Like I said, the show would run for. Really excited with this podcast moving forward. If you did enjoy this podcast, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. Give this video a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And let me know what you think about our thoughts on free agency and everything like that. But without further ado, I hope you did all enjoy this first episode of the Football Focus podcast. Thanks, Tyler, for doing this with me.
yeah,
And I had a lot of fun today, but
Yeah.
we'll see you guys on the next one. See you guys.